So let's start with something sweet and simple, Glaze Jam Turnovers. Now, the outside of these turnovers are essentially like a cookie dough. So I have ½ cup of unsalted butter cut into pieces, and I want to sift into that 1 cup of icing sugar. Here we go. And I'm going to beat my butter and sugar until it's nice and smooth and a little bit fluffy. There we go. Now I'll add my 2 egg yolks. And my eggs are at room temperature. I really do like this cookie dough recipe for this style of turnover. And really, a turnover can be any combination of pastry and filling. Could be a jam, could be fruit, could be cream, just so long as it's hidden inside. And I'll add my ½ teaspoon of vanilla. And now for the flour, 1½ cups of cake and pastry flour. Pastry flour has a lower protein content than all-purpose flour. So what it does is make the cookie dough itself a finer texture and also lovely and tender. And lastly, just ¼ teaspoon of salt. And I just mix it until the dough comes together. And then I'll just take a second to shape it with my hands into a ball, and I flatten that into a disc. Now I'm going to let this dough chill. I give it about 2 hours. Of course, you can let it chill longer if you want to make it ahead. And now it's time to roll. Cut my dough in half. Let me give this a little check. I like to use a flexible measuring tape to check my measurements because my tops and my bottoms have to match here. So, trim it down. All right, and now I'll cut this in half and then divide it into 8 in total. And I'll line these up on my baking tray. Now for the jam. Of course, use any jam you prefer. I'm going for raspberry here. You don't want to spread it to the edges because you have to put the top pastry over top. Now to roll the remaining pastry to make the tops. Before I lay these on top of the jam-filled bases, I want to dock the pastry with a fork, just to let any steam escape so I don't get an air pocket. Now I can lay them on top. Try not to press down in the center, that way it keeps the jam in place. The final move is to use your fork and press the top layer into the bottom. This is really common when you're making turnovers. It looks pretty, and it holds the pastries in place. And they're ready for the oven, which I've preheated to 325, and I give them 15 to 20 minutes. You have to let the turnovers cool completely before you put on the best part, the glaze. So give them at least an hour to cool down. And the glaze is so easy to put together. I've got 1 cup of icing sugar that I've already sifted, and I'll add to that 2 tablespoons of milk, ½ teaspoon of vanilla, and of course, you want to color them up a little bit and use a food coloring paste and just add a little. I'm going to go for pink. Grab my whisk. Make sure it's nice and smooth. Just glaze away. I really try and cover the turnovers a fair bit. And before the glaze sets, the finishing touch, because these are cute and playful. After an hour, that glaze will set up firmly, but who says you have to wait that long? Aren't these absolutely adorable? And there it is. Ooh, the jam filling, what a treat. You can really feel how tender the cookie dough is, but let's be honest, it's about getting to the center with the jam filling. How can you not smile when you have sprinkles on something?